Welcome back to the lab. 8 minutes of senseless babble. Here we go. Compressed air line. I was having a lot of trouble with moisture in the air. A lot of trouble. Actually, you can see the water coming out of the drain and the rust on the ground. I think actually primarily the bulk of this trouble is coming due to its location. In fact, there's a water fountain just there, other side of the door. So this is actually a very damp area. So I've made a drier tube, which I've had in the past at my previous workshop. Put the air in at the bottom. Big long tube. Big long tube. Take the air out at the top. And the theory is, as the air's travelling up through here, it's cooling because that's massive heat sink basically, and all the water will just condensate on the sides and run down to the bottom to a drain at the bottom. You'll notice this is not on the bottom, this is up, so if this fills up with water it doesn't try and stuff and things, right? So when we get to the point where we want to put paint on here, we won't be putting at least as much water on there as what we would have been. You'll see all the paint has disappeared off this panel here. It is all gone. Oh, there's some dregs, but you know, it's all gone. This had so much bog on it. It was ridiculous. It was 10 millimeters thick in places. It was just stupid. There was a repair down here. I have removed the repair. There was a big gouge in the panel, and then it had been hammered out, and it must have rusted out in this seam here in between these two panels, and so that was all just chopped out, and there was a big patch all the way along here. But these two panels are supposed to attach to the floor, so this is supposed to be rigid so it can't move in and out, whereas they had just a piece from here to here and not attaching to the floor, so this whole panel was blah 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 blah, which probably is part of the reason why when that A-pillar was detached up there, the roof guttering wasn't there. You could just grab that and flop it backwards and forwards very, very easily. So I've joined this right on the very, very edge of the panel, front and back. Across here, replaced a section here that was all rusted out, so that's much better now. You can see it lines up pretty good with the step, which isn't a perfect fit. That's pretty floppy, and I made a new skin on this door, right, so that all has to be fitted, so I'll fit that up so it works perfectly with that. I'm not sure how it comes across on camera. It doesn't look too bad to me, but I've put a straight edge on here. It needs maybe about 2 millimeters of bog here, or filler, or you could probably just leave it and be done with it. Wifey, she wanted all these seams all filled in anyway, so that gets deleted later on when we're getting to the point where we're going to paint that. I'll tack those two together so it doesn't move at all and fill it with filler, and it'll be good. So it looks like it's bowed in a little bit there. It probably is. I can there's 3 access holes at the bottom and the back side, and I can just give it a little bit of a tuk 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 as required. I'd started on this because all this stuff up here was getting to the point where I wanted to start putting paint on, and if I was going to paint up here, then I'd want to just do that panel because there's not much to it, and I was going to remove all the paint from here so that we catch things like this, get rid of that before it becomes a problem. So this will all come off very, very quickly and easily. I've done this corner already. I've filled in some holes from some aftermarket lights that someone had put on there. Replaced this section here above the top of the window because the top of this panel was rusted out, and you can see this is the new gutter has gone in. There's a section of it over there. Hold that. There we go, we've got that. This is our new gutter section. This is 2 millimeter thick electro galv, and I've got that all folded up. United Sheet Metals did a great job of that for me. You can see I've put some little things that I need to fix. So 3 meter length. We had to have a join in it somewhere. Actually, I've done all right. I can't see it from here. Where is it? Oh, I missed it. There. I actually did all right, didn't I? So this one's joined here just because of stuff and things. And the other side, you can see there, it's easy. That's joined right at the very back there, which I don't know if that's the ideal spot to have a join or not, but that's where it is. So the hole, that's down lower, so I can put oil in it, so it can run, so it can piss off the hoist, and we'll put this on the hoist. The whole gutter replacement saga is done, diddly-do, except I didn't replace this piece. I was quite happy to leave that piece. It seemed to be reasonable condition. So I left it alone. You'll all laugh because that will be the only piece of the original guttering thing left in the whole van, but that's just what I wanted to do. All these have all been done, all spot welded or stitch plug welded into the panel underneath. Oh, it's not very good lighting, you can't see. And then I've gone through and checked just to make sure they're all attached and all that sort of carry on. This corner here needs replacing. I haven't done it yet. I just got sick of focusing on just these things and decided I wanted to do some other things first. That's next on my list. You can see this one, the entire thing has been replaced. I made a little tool to get this shape all the way through, so that's one piece from this outside edge all the way to here, and then I've just made that out of 3 pieces. It's all 2 mil thick, and it's, you know, without making a custom tool for it, some custom tooling, that's very, very difficult to just press that and hey presto, there it is. That's just not realistic for one-off jobs. If we were doing more, then yeah, you'd get something machined and you just literally would put your piece of metal in the press and there it is, done. But that's not likely to happen, so we'll just get that done. I don't know if I've got my 8 minutes of babble yet. I think I probably have. That's about as far as we've got. It just takes hours and hours and hours going through, undoing all the spot welds so you don't damage the skins underneath, and then putting it all back. But she's bloody good now, nice and strong. Plugged all the holes in this panel here. Might have been easier to make a new panel, but I'm just trying to keep this, you know, what do they call it? A sympathetic restoration. So you try and keep as much of the original thing as you can. So that's done. Weather's terrible outside. It's peeing down with rain. Every control system in the vehicle is gone. There is nothing in here that functions anymore except for the handbrake or park brake or the emergency brake, depending on where you are in the world. That's the only one that works. Yeah, I'll break it, won't I, if I do that. There we go, now it'll move. Engine cover, I didn't like the way it was done. It was awful. If you stood on the floor here, it just buckled and bowed and moved around. It was terrible, and it was the same over here. It was all just spongy, yucky, squishy, not very safe, not very good. So this is all 1.6, I think it is. Gear lever arrangement's gone at the moment. We'll be going back in, same spot, and that's going to get cut off with this where this line is, and I'll make a new cover that goes over there that's functional. You'll see I've put a return on here, and that's actually tapered down, so if there's any fluids try and come out and then they get as far as here, they'll roll that way rather than that way, and we'll run a seal along here, and the engine cover will sit down on top of that, and it should be significantly more robust and efficient and actually work compared to what it had before, which was awful. Other door frame over there, I've welded in these holes which were put in to inject rust inhibiting stuff, which I think it's all gone perhaps. There might be a bit of it there, yeah, some of it there, that brown goopy stuff. Horrible stuff, horrible stuff. Not like this stuff here that I put on, which is dries hard to the touch, or hardish, and doesn't make a big mess when you're trying to work with it later on. So yep, still a bit to do. I'll delete all this old paint and corrosion and everything, and There's going to be a whole lot of painting to happen very, very shortly when the weather's not terrible. Deleted a hole that was still here for where the aerial was. Got rid of some scratches that were in it. Filled in some holes from a badge. Previously people have just bogged over the top, and then the water comes in through the back of the bog and just makes everything rust. Having a look at this bonnet, it's done. I've probably got myself in a bit deep with this one. I'm going to have to make a complete new skin for it. Wifey doesn't want a fiberglass bonnet, she wants a steel one. Well, she's going to find out it's going to take me a week to make it, but that's how it goes. It'll be interesting. It'll just might test my skills, show what I can or perhaps can't do. So that's where she sits. It's amazing just putting the grill back in it and putting the bonnet on it. It definitely looks like a Bedford again. Right, that'll do you. Gee, we're just about 12 minutes now. Thanks for watching. More updates shortly. Sorry, that a little bit few and far between on this one. As you can imagine, 2 minutes to explain that I've replaced the gutter rails the whole way around on the vehicle, and there's, I don't know, it might be 30 or 40 hours to do that. So yeah, pretty hard to turn out a weekly video with decent content based on that. But we are getting there now. Roof goes on shortly to test fit and confirm angles and stuff. We'll fold up all the pieces that go around here that the fiberglass roof goes onto, and then we'll start, get the roof back on it eventually after it's been on here, to make sure there's no carnage under there that we don't know about. Shouldn't be. Right, temporary floor so we don't scratch up our lovely primer under there. There you go. That's the update for today. Thank you very much, Lee, for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Consider becoming a channel member, $5 a month, and you get to see the videos first. And in theory, you're supposed to be seeing some videos that no other people are seeing. I might do another one of those shortly. Thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.